Hi guys, Dr. Kischa here, and welcome to my YouTube channel and my very first video about how to get through a breakup. Now notice, I didn't say how to get over a breakup, and that's because I believe that so many times we try to get over something and the gems and the lessons are going through the journey and through the process. There's different stages to a breakup. It doesn't just automatically happen and you wake up all carefree and happy. There's a process to it, and sometimes it's a long, lengthy, painful process. So I'm just going to talk about some of the breakups that I've had and some of the lessons that I learned along the way to get me to a place of healing. I remember two significant breakups in my life. One, I broke up with my partner, and the other one, I was on the receiving end of the breakup. And the first one, where I broke up with the partner, was one of the most painful experiences that I've ever been in. I thought that I was getting broken up with by how distraught and painful it was. I remember months leading up to the breakup, I ruminated and contemplated and made excuses to stay in the relationship because I wanted to avoid inflicting pain and being in pain. I I I remember calling. I know I did it over the phone. I remember calling my partner at the time, and we were talking about just regular day events, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. And I just started crying, and he was just confused what's going on, and I just started telling him that I couldn't do it anymore. And I remember I actually didn't say the phrase, "I think we need to separate or break up." He actually said it. Are you breaking up with me? And I just confirmed what he said. And after that, I remember being in such a place of sadness. It was so heavy, and it was a difficult time for me to move forward. Mind you, we had been together for close to 4 years and very seriously contemplating marriage. So it was a significant relationship. And I remember the day after driving to work on the freeway and looking around and not being able to see in color. Like, it felt like just everything was in black and white. There was no life around me. I felt like a zombie just going through the motions, very numb to all of my emotions. And it wasn't for a good length of time, I would say a couple of weeks, where I noticed that I started to see in color again. And I started to feel better about myself. So initially, I felt so guilty and so ashamed of myself for letting the relationship get to that point. And I say that because I knew earlier in the relationship that this relationship wasn't the best for me. It wasn't a bad relationship in the terms of abuse or cheating or anything like that. I just knew that my partner and I had significant differences where it would be problematic long term. Um, and I went ahead with it anyway. I just didn't want to be alone anymore. I just wanted that my single stage of life to be over. And I ignored some of the signs that became blaring signs later in the relationship. But when we did break up, I blame myself for that. I blame myself that now I hurt someone so much and I couldn't fix it. And I had to realize that just like how I'm healing in that moment, he was healing too. He's going to be all right. I can't fix him no matter what. I couldn't fix him if he was my husband. So why was I so concerned with fixing him in our breakup or having him avoid that pain in our breakup? I do remember that I went back and thought about all the times that he would say something like I was being condescending or talking down to him or making him feel certain ways about himself. I did look for evidence in that within our relationship. And the reason why was I wanted to improve upon myself. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn a lesson in it. And the lesson was I had to be cognizant of how I spoke to people. I did. Because I was faced with the reality that yes, I can be condescending. And yes, I can speak down to people at times. So I looked back in the relationship and looked for evidence of that. So instead of being in denial, I took it as a growing and learning opportunity. So my first tip would be don't blame yourself, but learn from it. Learn from the things that happened in that relationship so that you don't have to learn the lesson again. I'm a big proponent in that you're going to go through the lesson over and over and over again until you get it right. And I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in a Groundhog Day situation for the rest of my life. So I'm going to learn this lesson as fast as I can. Oh, you said I'm condescending? Okay. I'm going to be very much aware of that when I engage with people because I want to develop that characteristic within myself to make sure that people are heard and not made to feel like I'm talking down to them within my next relationship or in all of my relationships. So look for ways that you can improve upon yourself from some of the things that your partner said. Now, I'm not saying to apply the nasty things that are said in arguments, but the things that were said during times of calmness and conversation about your character that you can improve upon. Because not everything that's said is said maliciously or to hurt you. Sometimes we can be a little bit too sensitive within our relationships and not listen to the message that is said, but focus on the messenger. No, listen to the message. Sometimes it will apply and it's there to develop you. My second tip would be to remember who you were before you went into this relationship. So now there's a void. Your partner has vacated the seat and there's a lot of time on your hands. Remember who you were before that relationship started. Remember your passions. Remember that you like to go hiking, exercise, go to the spa, get facials, hang out with your friends, hang out with your family. Remember all of those things that you did before the relationship. Sometimes we enter into a relationship to find ourselves. No, that never works. You found your partner. You found who they want to be and what they like, but you didn't find who you are. We need to enter into relationships whole, not broken birds wanting to be fixed. Whole. We owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our partner. Before you can be in a relationship with somebody, you have to be in a good relationship with yourself. You have to make sure that you're of sound mind and that you can offer something to someone because it's not all about you receiving something in the relationship. So remember the things that you enjoyed, what you like to do. And in those moments, you never know, you could find new passions. You could find your purpose and your calling for your life and you trying to rediscover who you are in those moments. Also, be deliberate with staying busy. Make sure that you don't have a lot of idle time on your hands to ruminate and be sad and cry and call up your friends and talk about it over and over and over again. No, put some stuff in your calendar. Be busy. Go through the motions. I remember in the breakup where I was on the receiving end, I was so wrapped up in my partner where I liked everything that they liked, wanted to do everything that they wanted to do, compromise my time so that I could be more available for them, which are huge no-nos. And when we broke up, I was lost. I was like walking around with no direction. But I did remember that I had to be deliberate with my time. I scheduled things and went through the motions, even though I didn't want to do them because every fiber of my being wanted to just lay in my bed and cry. I had to do the opposite of that. I had to get up. I had to go to work. I had to go to the gym. I had to hang out with my friends and family. I had to do things that distracted my mind from wanting to stay home and be rolled up in a ball somewhere, rocking back and forth and crying. I had to do things until my emotions eventually caught up to where my body was. Because your emotions are finicky and they're not permanent. They're not. They will change. And so when you go through the practices of being busy and being on a schedule, your emotions will eventually catch up. And that's what happened when I was able to see in color again. I was just going through the practices, kicking and screaming because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get out of the house and be around people and keep moving. I had to go through those practices until my emotions eventually caught up to where I was. Also, you want to include your friends and family in what you're going through. You don't want to be suffering in silence. You want to tell them about some of the things that you're struggling with going through that breakup, because you want them to hold you accountable to what you're saying, especially if you were in a relationship that was bad for you. You want to let them know that, hey, I broke up with Johnny and I'm not going to talk to him anymore. I'm not going to text him. You know, if you find me texting him, say something to me and mean it, because your friends and family will. They will call you on your foolishness and say, who's texting you? Oh, that's Johnny. Didn't we say that we weren't going to do that anymore? You definitely want that kind of feedback. I know that it can be a little annoying, but include them in what you're going through so that you won't make the same mistake over and over again. Like I said, you will be presented with the same lessons until you learn it, until you move forward. Because then in your mind, you will already have those safeguards up. You already know what to avoid. You will already be avoiding those flags and those situations that seem a little funny to you. So when you include people in what you're going through, they can hold you accountable to what you say and make the process a little bit easier for you. Also, spend time with God. Ask Him what it is that He wants you to learn from the situation. Ask Him what characteristics that He wants you to develop from the situation. You never know. Your prayer might have been answered within that breakup of praying for patience and kindness and love and respect and for you to be a better person. Yeah, your breakup's definitely going to test all of that. So that's an answer to your prayer. So when we pray for things, you better be prepared to receive them, good or bad, because God's not going to automatically give you what you're praying for, especially when it comes to characteristics. He's not going to just give you courage or give you strength. He's going to put you in situations to test those things, to develop those things. So it's up to you to manifest those things within you. You have to go and be deliberate about forming those characteristics from the situation that you just exited from. So spend time with God and ask Him what exactly it is that He wants you to do in this moment, what exactly it is that He wants you to learn from this moment, so that you don't have to be presented with these tests over and over again, and so that you can heal from this and move forward and be a whole person for your next relationship. So those are some of the tips that I have and some of the things that I did to get through my past breakups. And I hope that they were helpful for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, guys.